stipulated in our Constitution, I now stand before you on the second Tuesday in September to set out the policy to be pursued by government in the upcoming 2023-2024 parliamentary year. Since 2021, reform measures have been established as part of the mutual agreements with the Netherlands in exchange for financial support as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Structural reforms for the improvement and restructuring of government are in the areas of financial control, cost and effectiveness of the public sector, taxes, financial sector, economic reforms, health, education, and strengthening the rule of law. From the very beginning, the government of St. Martin has stressed the importance of the National Development Vision as instructions for all St. Martin development, including these reform measures. The areas for reforms connect with the development themes in St. Martin's National Vision. The National Development Vision harmonizes the pursuit of the Sustainable Development Goals and the Small Island Developing States Development Agenda. In order for St. Martin to be better enabled to monitor and evaluate the achievement of these goals, the Sustainable Development Goals support identifying and guiding development priorities for St. Martin through the development of a National Development Plan. The first steps towards developing St. Martin's National Development Plan under the current National Development Vision have already started. There is agreement that anchoring all ongoing projects under the umbrella of the National Development Vision, resulting in a National Development Plan, would improve St. Martin's chances of anchoring a sustainable future. Further, with the financial and capacity support through the mutual agreement between the Netherlands and St. Martin on priority reform measures, this is the opportune moment for this development. It is government's aim and priority to present the National Development Plan in the first part of the year 2024. In achieving these goals, donor relations also remain a priority of government. Funding has been secured mainly from the EU for several projects aimed at achieving the goals of the National Development Vision. In addition, the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations in The Hague continues to build direct partnerships with stakeholders that are imperative to supporting the sustainable development of St. Martin. By building these relationships, advocacy and awareness is brought to the development needs and ambitions of St. Martin. Further in this context, although we live on an island, no man is an island, as is proverbially said. As a small island, the capacity to achieve our goals unilaterally is limited. With this in mind, government will continue engagement with regional organizations, and discussions are ongoing and will intensify in the latter part of 2023 with CARICOM, particularly in and around climate, sustainable development, and financing, and social affairs, as well as the Caribbean Development Bank and the Organization for Eastern Caribbean States. This engagement will underscore and build support for issues that are important for St. Martin internationally. Government has moved to establish, and where already existing, strengthen relationships with regional governments. The most important of these relationships is with French St. Martin, and by extension, the French Republic. Government, along with its relevant partners in The Hague, believe that development will be a miss without including French St. Martin. For the first time, Dutch and French St. Martin have convened to develop a high-level cooperation strategy. In addition, government recognizes the need for a comprehensive and overarching strategy that harmonizes, aligns, and synchronizes the development of the island as a whole. Government believes that collaborative actions will have more impact and allow for the pooling of resources, thereby enhancing common advancement for the people on the northern and southern side of the island. And make no mistake about it, enhancing advancement and progress of the people of and our country is much needed at this time and is at the top of the priority list for government. In this context, government plans to execute balanced macroeconomic fiscal policies and initiatives that aid in the expansion and diversification of St. Martin's economy, provide fiscal sustainability, and to be the catalyst for innovation. The state of the economy in St. Martin for 2023 has shown promising signs of recovery and growth. The continuous and gradual increase in visitor arrivals, particularly in stay-over tourism, has contributed to the expansion of hotel occupancy, resulting in positive impacts on employment rates and government revenue. Furthermore, we see new developments in the hospitality industry, indicating confidence in the economy and in the tourist industry.
The first in our young country's history, and the banner which this government waves so proudly as they drive around. Salaries, bills, and reconstruction paid for, thanks in large part to the Leona Marlin government and to this opposition faction that I'm representing today. Mr. Chairman, I offer up a moment of silence. A moment to recall the statements made by members of this current coalition that the same Leona Marlin government had the country for sale and that the trust fund would have no future in St. Martin with them at the helm. Their conviction was so strong that they found it necessary to drop government in 2019, only to have to put their tails between their legs and implement and execute the very same trust fund. It's not rocket science to recognize, St. Martin, that they knew they couldn't change it, that the reasons for toppling government in 2019 were false, and that they've worked tirelessly since 2020 to manipulate you into believing that they've succeeded where all others have failed. It's cute to claim victory after bombing your predecessors, or very neo-colonial of them. For the naysayers and the critics, the proof is on YouTube. One of their ministers stated at a public event in June of this year that the trust fund is the best thing that could have happened to St. Martin. And I've got the clip if anyone needs it. Mr. Chairman, a second moment of silence. For the complacency of current coalition members who, for the sake of their own position, have continued to demonstrate a rabid willingness, almost an urgency, to set aside principles of good governance and accountability from the beginning. The most glaring examples from this term are the Vineyard Heights land debacle, the SARE debacle, and the Ombudsman's Waste Management Report. Do not forget, St. Martin, how your High Council of State was disregarded, disrespected, and called into question by the very members of Parliament who put her there. This faction hasn't. In fact, when we tried to hold the minister accountable for his poor handling and decision-making, they threw a Hail Mary from the borders of Panama to save him. Mr. Chairman, another moment of silence, please. For all the times this government and its supporters focus more on clout, clickbait, and patting themselves on the back for doing the bare minimum, for having the meeting to plan to have the meeting for the plan, for being so far beyond the limit of their Peter principle that they congratulate themselves for being impressive on the international stage, and then when we the people check on news source that's not committed to their pockets, it turns out that our international reputation at certain labor organizations is in the trash can. And Mr. Chairman, one final moment of silence. For the people of St. Martin, who over the past 4 years have become even more left behind, not left behind by the people that this coalition tries to attack with weak challenges to integrity and performance, but by those who claim to be one while still messing things up. By those trotting out the works of others and calling it their own, pretenders on seats they had to force themselves into. And again, I have to begrudgingly admire the blatant imperialism of it all. I guess they're more like the Dutch than they think. 4 uneasy moments for 4 uneasy years. And imagine the impact on the people of St. Martin. I'm not without some grace for this government, Mr. Chairman. These have been challenging times, but they were challenging before they climbed over the remains of the previous one to sit there, so I'm not convinced much grace is warranted. Nevertheless, I have it, however small the amount may be. As we move into a new parliamentary year, Mr. Chairman, with the January election looming, I just have one main question, one that I've had since 2020, one that the people still have. What is the actual plan? When politics continues to be played at our most critical government-related company, GEBE, because rewards promised must be rewards given, and others like the Port and Telem, what's the actual plan? When members of ministerial cabinets are deployed like henchmen to people in our community, threatening them about biting the hand that feeds them and pressuring them to be silent when basic public services are withheld from them, what's the actual plan? When government tendering is still not regulated by any form of binding fiscal management, not even that pesky El-Beham from Article 46 of the Accountability Ordinance, that seems so difficult to do, maybe I should submit that one too. What's the actual plan? When we're getting reports that the grid market engagement may be in jeopardy because the monsters in the closet with the alternative solution have reared their heads again, what's the actual plan? When Turning Point is sounding the alarm that things are beyond not okay in our schools and our streets, but to date it's been landing on deaf ears, I ask again, what is the plan? When a minister comes to Parliament in the 11th hour of his term and provides a presentation for the revitalization of education, culture, youth, and sports as though it's day 1, 2020, what is the actual plan, bro? The disease of mediocrity and the dis-ease that we continue to create both at home and abroad continues to corrupt this noble art of governance and expose us as bad faith partners. So while stability has been the only original takeaway of this government, let us not forget that it came at the hands of a mature opposition faction unwilling to take many phone calls that came over the course of these 4 years to topple this government. Because we believe that the best way to represent the people is to do that part of our job that is the most important and actually work to hold this government accountable for their decisions, good, bad, or plain old terrible. Because we believe that every time a government falls, projects get set back, prices increase, and the people suffer. Because we believe that for far too long, personal agenda dictated stability rather than sentiments on core issues relevant to the public interest. These 4 years of stability allowed the reconstruction projects to occur, the same ones that the previous governments booted out for. So yes, you're welcome for not being the kind of opposition that many of you proved you were.
Mealtime rules. Don't serve yourself first. Do not eat with your mouth open. Don't rest your elbows on the table. Don't make noise when eating. Does not apply when enjoying KFC buckets. When we bucket together, we are as we really are.
Social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social and health insurances.
During the hurricane season, a potential tropical cyclone can produce rainfall that can cause flash flooding and rockfalls. Stay away from flood-prone areas during heavy rainfall, such as Jump Up Casino on Emma Plain Road in Phillipsburg, ATLH Road Roundabout, L.B. Scott Road from Emilio Wilson Park until Cake House Supermarket, Zaker's Gut from Petro Plus gas station until the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Welcalaken Road K-Hill from Welcalaken Road Roundabout until the One-Tete Loke Roundabout, Beacon Hill Road from Sunset Bar and Grill until the beginning of White Sands Road, and Rhine Road, also known as Mullet Bay Road, after Sonesto Maho Beach Hotel to the entrance of Cooper Coy from the intersection of the University Drive until the intersection of Rio Grande. For more information on how you can keep yourself and your family safe this hurricane season, visit stmartingolf.org/hurricane. This public service announcement is brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
Mr. Chairman, it's a good time to say, out with the old and in with the new. And this sentiment should stretch as far as this present government, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, of course, we hear so much about being the first. But of course, you can be the first in many things and also the worst, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have witnessed a parliamentary season, a parliamentary year. We have witnessed a government, Mr. Chairman, that have spat in the face of God when it comes to moral values and the standing of which they address themselves, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we have seen the hypocrisy of a government. When forming the government, it was not good enough to align with certain individuals, but on the heel of government not being able to stay together, it was then good to grab those same individuals and form with them. Quintessentially, Mr. Chairman, the definition of hypocrisy. Mr. Chairman, we have seen a government, Mr. Chairman, that have trampled on its people, destroy the lives of their people. For what and for whom? To appease foreigners that comes from over the ocean and say that they have the best interests for the people of this country. Mr. Chairman, the only solution for St. Martin is by St. Martin people and only by St. Martin people. Nobody 8,000 miles away can decide and know what's best for us here in this country. But this government, Mr. Chairman, have allowed them to continue to direct, dictate, blackmail, and condition the mind that they are better and we are worst. Mr. Chairman, every time a new CEO perch on this country, he brings a wealth of knowledge, most experience, knows everything about, and in 2 months, he's up and gone. Mr. Chairman, we have witnessed a government, Mr. Chairman, that have taken this country into conditions and then tell its people that our backs was against the wall. Mr. Chairman, I've listened to my colleagues talk about they have done so much, and I ask, what is the so much? I've witnessed, Mr. Chairman, a government that look at a hospital and take solace and pride in celebrating moving concrete from 1 feet to 9 feet and then say we have accomplished and bring it further than where it was before. Mr. Chairman, what I'm talking about is a government and its supporters in this parliament of nothingness. A government that have done nothing for the people of this country. Mr. Chairman, I applaud my colleague on his banking initiative because I know he means well by it. But Mr. Chairman, if we don't own and dictate the rights of banking in this country, your legislation means nothing, Mr. Chairman. When I say to the people of St. Martin, secede from the central bank, own your own central bank, because we are the ones to determine what's best in this country, not no one for us, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I say this to the people of St. Martin on the closing of Parliament, that yes, you are the longest serving government. But you are the longest serving government because, like what my colleague mentioned, members of Parliament in the opposition refuse to entertain breaking of this government. You're not the longest serving government because you stood fast. You're the longest serving government because not one of us in opposition wanted to be part of the worst serving government. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have no intentions of staying here long today. I can do this over and over and over. But an election is on the dawn of the sunrise. It will come, and it's coming now, Mr. Chairman. And when you hear them say that no one could do it better, speak for yourself, because you have done it worse. Mr. Chairman, we have seen a government that have blasted the previous government of Leona Romeo Marlin and say they have sold out this country. They have invited the Dutch into this country. They have given Schiphol the airport of Juliana. We have seen this in this country, but when the contract was up, you extended it. Mr. Chairman, I have no intentions on lingering on this. I have said it before, I'm going to say it again. What we have experienced in this country, like never before, is a government that is the worst government ever. Mr. Chairman, we have down on the airport a body, a group, an institution called the Schiphol Group, that to this present day, we can't see nothing further. We can't see what was done. We can't see how they are helping, but millions goes into their pockets. That today the state secretary could tell us, take this money, or you will see what will happen when it comes to the refinancing of the COVID money. Mr. Chairman, many of my colleagues have spoken about what is happening today in concerning Ansari, in concerning Ania. Mr. Chairman, they are thieves, and they have robbed the people of St. Martin. The prosecutor's office is a criminal organization because they have no capacity to go after a billionaire, but they can send 10 and 12 individuals into my home because then they find capacity was well.
Social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, your social and health insurances.
With you, the new Kentaco, a combination that will surprise the most curious palates. Combining the deliciousness of KFC chicken and the practicality of a taco with a doubly delicious ergonomic shape. Wow! Compatible with all types of bites. New Kentaco. Enjoy a double-breaded chicken breast with our secret recipe. Cheese, lettuce, and tomato. New Kentaco, the innovation that's in everyone's mouth.
It's hurricane season. Are you prepared? Here are a few tips to keep in mind to help keep you and your family safe. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, with the peak occurring between mid-August and late October. This hurricane season, be sure to put together a go bag. A disaster supply kit including a flashlight, batteries, cash, first aid and supplies, medications, and copies of your critical information if you need to evacuate. This public service announcement was brought to you by the government of St. Martin.
Budget 2024 is delayed, and the amended budget 2023 is also delayed. Now, I listened to the Minister of Finance stating that budget 2023 was delayed because they had to figure out how they're going to pay the police and how they were going to get that money in there. And budget 2024 is automatically delayed because 2023 amended was delayed because there too they had to see how they're going to put the money for the police, how they're going to put the money for the liquidity loans, etc., etc., etc. Lot of talk. Bottom line is it's delayed. But I am more concerned with the delay of 2023 right now than I am of 2024. Why? Because we are using money we don't have. We have been expected to collect the next amount of taxes. And I heard last week, Friday, one of the MPs explaining that, and I want to put it in proper context. It was with GB. They said the Minister of VSR did a great thing by cutting the down payment from 50% to 25% to give the people a breathing space, and they would cover that money with money to be collected yet from the room tax. Again, all fine and dandy, but that money isn't there. So how does budget 2023 get balanced? Because we can amend all we want, but if we can't balance it, we're gonna have a problem. Now, we know that the loans will be extended. The question is, by how much? Is it going to be by 3.1% or is it going to be by 8%? And anybody who tell you, oh, no, we got a deal. No, you don't have a deal. You do not have a deal. CFT made it abundantly clear that if the Dutch government gives this loan to Curacao and Aruba, they're going to destroy these countries. Mind you, right now, St. Martin owes already 1.3 billion guilders, right now, of which close to 320 billion came from COVID and the pandemic and so. You want to add on now another $100 million, if not more, right now. That would be another 180 million guilders. So half of the money we got for the pandemic, we are now going to have to take, more than half actually, we're going to have to take to cover a pension. But what does this do for the budget? That's not clear. What does it do for the budget? And nobody's saying nothing. They're saying, oh, we just have to make a little change up with the monies for the police. That is hogwash. That is hogwash, Minister. You know better than that. And I'm going to call you out on it. Because tell the people the truth what we are facing right now, man. We are in a serious quagmire position. Our backs against the wall and the fellas in front of us got guns. And there ain't no place we can run. That's the position we are in right now. The Dutch told you, if you don't take the loan, you're paying 8%. 8% of 314 million is approximately 24 million you're going to pay per year on interest, and you're going to pay back over the next 20 years, you'll be paying back about 15 million. So a total of 39 million, Minister. If you take the loan, that other 100 million is 180 million is going to be added on. So then you're up on 500 million. For that, you're going to pay 3%. That 3%, Minister, is about 15 million. So yeah, you save 9 million. But you know what? Now you're paying 25 million on the payback, because that's your principal. When you add them up, you got more. You got more than you had before with 8%. You have to ask yourself the question, can I afford the 8% or can I not afford it? Can I afford to pay back 24 million or not? That's the question you have to answer. No more, no less. And the pensions of India are coming to that just now. Because the Dutch have to understand that geopolitics can be played more ways than just one way. But Minister, you need to come clean. You need to explain me why you are not standing your ground with CFT's advice and telling the Dutch, if you all want it so bad, then you all pay for it. And when I win the Ansari case, take back your money. Because it's the same government in Holland which gives 25 million euros every year to the RST, prosecutor's office and courts, and now telling we, buy Ansari too big to prosecute. So we're going to leave the 1.2 billion embezzler walk. For now, for sure. And we're going to squeak it out of all your locals in St. Martin. That's the message they're sending.